My name is Kris Gethin, and what I aim to bring to you is inspiration, motivation from clients, everything that will allow you to evolve as a human being. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Kris Gethin podcast. This podcast is of a seminar that I hosted with my good friend Simon Fan in the UK. This is out of his gym, Ultimate Fitness in Birmingham, and this was part of the Iron World Tour that was supported both by Gasp and Better Bodies Clothing and Caged Subs. We had a really, really good time there. I flew over to the UK originally to do a seminar on the Health Optimization Summit, all on athletic performance, anti-aging, biohacking, etc. This one was a little bit more focused on the terminology that I always like to use, be harder to kill. So this episode is all about being harder to kill. There are some Q&As, there are some questions that you'll hear from the audience. You'll hear a little bit of noise in the background, but for the most part, you'll hear the voices of myself and Simon Fan. Let's get into the show. I want to share my appreciation to Simon for allowing us to put this event on, getting the staff to help put out the seats and take names and whatnot, and just putting this together and putting up the posters everywhere and just helping with this organization. So really appreciate that, and congratulations on
thank you.
The 5 years.
10 years. Yeah, 5 years has gone quick. I mean, I'm trying to think when we last seen each other. It must have been at least 5, 6 years
I think it was a little bit less than that. I think it was about...
Was it Body Power, was it?
It was Body Power. Yeah. Like, I came in here, I did a session with Hannah Eden. Remember Hannah Eden,
yes,
the redhead?
Actually, it was 4 years, 2018.
Yeah, this was open.
Yeah, because Gaz was here doing the photos.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the last time I've seen you.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
We had Flex Wheeler came.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's gone quick, isn't it?
It has gone quick, but like a lot has been happening in that time.
Nice.
A lot has happened to you, mate.
Has, yes, but I'm still here to tell the story.
You're here, my man. Almost come back from the dead.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so we'll start this off. So, although the seminar is called Be Harder to Kill, there's a lot of other words that you could use this kind of terminology. You could be relentless, you could be conditioning your resolve, no compromises that Michael always mentions. Consistency, persistence, there's a lot of terms. I like to say be harder to kill because it encompasses so much. And it doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm an alpha male, I'm going to be harder to kill, sacrifice my health in order to be better, and I'm going to outwork you, outtrain you, even though I'm on 3 hours of sleep. You know what I mean? That was my mentality at one stage, and then I realized I'm burning the candle at both ends by doing so. It was just ego. A lot of it was ego, not just in the gym, but outside of the gym. It happened more so when I was living in India and I got diagnosed with mold toxicity. I wasn't sleeping. I was sleeping literally 3 to 4 hours a night. And I would always say that sleep every night, I would dread. It was like I was getting on a plane for 12 hours every single night.
You weren't going to sleep?
Couldn't sleep. I'd go to sleep.
Couldn't switch off, or just couldn't get...
No, I'd sleep straight away, but then within 30 minutes I'd wake up and think, okay, it's time to get up. And I'm like, oh shit, I've only been sleeping for 30 minutes. And it was like that all night.
Was you tracking your sleep back then?
No, I wasn't tracking it, but like I would go to bed early, and I'd wake up around like 6 o'clock.
7 o'clock. 7:30.
7:30 I would go to bed in the evening.
Stopped up in bed 7:30.
Yeah, bloody right. That's why I look beautiful. Get my beauty sleep, But I would wake up in the morning, and I know that I'd only sleep about 3 or 4 hours, but I was like, I'm still going to outtrain you. I'm still going to outwork you. I'm going at it, But until that mentality got me sicker than the average person. Where when I went to, I got diagnosed with this mold toxicity at Dr. Oldsmar clinic in Florida. I was there for 6 weeks, and after my IV and detox, I'd go through every single day. I'd see these people like after their IV and detox sessions, I'd see them just passed out. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? I'm going to go to the gym. Are they on different things than me to go through this process? Because people are there for Lyme's disease and all sorts. And I remember a couple of the nurses and a doctor said, they're actually taking less than you to detox themselves. But you've created this resilience inside yourself mentally that you've just got so sick physically, and we got a lot of work to do. So being that resilient And being harder to kill up here isn't always the best. So that's why I'm saying it's all encompassing. It isn't just one thing. I'm going flat out. You need to be harder to kill when it comes to your recovery. You need to be harder to kill when you look at the outside perception, just not the internal. Whether that be you're being harder to kill to not pick up the phone first thing in the morning. You would need to have that discipline to not be a reaction all the time, because in this day and age today, it's very easy for us to become comfortable, get led by the device, because that is an addiction in itself. They actually say, I'm going to digress a little bit now, but they say that is more addictive than drugs. Because on that phone you have Amazon, you have Netflix, you have emails, you have Instagram, you have all these alerts. So it's like click, click, click all the time. And not only that, you also have the dopamine fix from the artificial light. So you get a two-prong fix there. So what do most people do in the morning? They wake up and set their anxiety and their cortisol levels, even subconsciously, higher than it should be. That's why we're seeing insulin resistance. That's why we're seeing various cancers or autoimmune disease. We're seeing heart disease go up. I'm not saying it's all because of that. Of course, it could be a bit woo-woo for some of you, but there's a lot of contributing factors in our life that is making us harder to kill. We're becoming softer, and with all these things, like I said, Uber Eats, everything coming to us, we're designed now to be softer. We're more emotionally charged. Our testosterone levels are crashing 1% a year over the past 30 years. Our DNA hasn't changed. Our environment definitely has. So we have to be harder to kill just to keep our heads afloat. So, what do we do about that? Well, number one, it starts in the morning when you set your intention for the day. Are you going to be a reaction to your phone immediately? Or are you going to take action and set intention and positivity into the universe for your day? So, I'm a culprit for it. I'm not the best at all. It's something that you have to work at every single day.
It's a habit, isn't it? You wake up, first thing you grab your phone, check emails, social media, messages, then next thing you know, an hour's gone.
Yeah.
Fucking an hour, I could have done cardio, I could have done some work, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you go down that rabbit hole, don't you? You go down the rabbit hole, you go into check an email, and next thing you know, holy shit, I didn't even check that email. I've been scrolling or whatever, And that's a vicious cycle. Much like when you're in a gym, you put in the reps, you put in the sets every single day, you get positive results. If you're doing the same with negative actions, bad food, alcohol, the phone, device, or whatever it may be, now you're setting those neural pathways for bad habits, okay? And it's very difficult to get out of it. It's not as if you stop training and the muscle just wastes away, or you put on fat. That happens pretty easy. It's very difficult to give up a lot of these habits, because not only do you have the endorphin rush, you have these dopamine effects, you have norepinephrine effects that can make you stupid. You keep having all these effects that's dumping into the dopamine, into the prefrontal cortex. It can make you slow, it can make you stupid. So then you're easily sold to for other things, and that's why it is so addictive. And that's why it is as well. I don't believe kids should have phones today. Not only do you have the device, but back in the day, there was no screen. Now there's a screen as well that is penetrating your retina and again, setting off the dopamine effects, because now you have colors, now you have all sorts that is that marketing to you, Are you a culprit of that, or are you pretty good? In the morning, picking up your phone?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I try and wake up naturally. I don't use it as an alarm.
Yeah.
So I wake up pretty early anyway, but I'll probably say half an hour, then I'll do my cardio first in the morning. So I do half an hour on the phone, then once I sort of wake up, I do religiously an hour cardio every morning. I go outside, I don't go on a treadmill or bike. I make sure, if it's raining, pissing down, I'll still get my cortisone from outside.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I get fresh air.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you're spending a lot of the time in the gym, you want to get outside, do your cardio. It's a little bit different. You're getting ready for a bodybuilding show. Yeah, you're spending the majority of the time on a Stairmaster. But if you don't have to, try to get outside, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D, which isn't just a vitamin, it's a hormone, really helps with hormonal production. And, earth yourself, ground yourself, turn into a bit of a hippie for 30 minutes. You're good to go. A lot of people don't do that. We are in a different environment to how we were created. we're under artificial blue light, air conditioning. A lot of the time the air is cleaner outside than it is inside, because we have acids, cleaning products, lacquers, all sorts and things like that. So we need to get outside a little bit more because that's our natural environment. Our ancestors weren't cooped up all the time.
I've never seen the point of driving to a gym to walk on a treadmill. I've never seen that point. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I bet you did it at some stage.
No, I didn't actually. I always did cardio outside,
Yeah.
Because the gyms I trained at back then, they never had treadmills. So.
You're right. Yeah, they just had a bike.
Yeah,
and that was
bike,
it.
Yeah.
Like I remember Dorian's gym just had a bike,
Just a bike, yeah.
Yeah, there was no stairmaster or anything like that. Yeah, and that's what Dorian used to do. He used to walk outside, didn't he?
He used to do go to the park, local park.
Just walk the dog.
Yeah.
But mind you,
for him.
Yeah, the amount of muscle he was holding there, he's probably burning off like 5,000 calories just to maintain it. But yeah, get outside. A lot of people do want to go to the gym to do their cardio because a lot of the home is designed to relax. There's too many distractions. So when people get to the gym, I understand to a certain degree, they're able to focus. If that's you, then do it. Do whatever you've got to do in order to get the blood flowing, not just around your body. Of course, the most important muscle is your heart, but to the brain as well. So you have cognitive function, you feel good, you feel better. Like, who regrets having a good workout? There's no regrets, but a lot of the time we're battling with ourselves. Oh God, should I go to the gym? Should I do my cardio this morning? There's always that voice. But if you get it done, you never regret it.
You always feel better a lot after.
You always feel so much better. So, it's just making that small sacrifice in your life every single day to make you harder to kill, to give you the success that you're trying to search for, whether it's, in your relationship, whether it's building a business, running a gym, or whether it's with your health. You have to make sacrifices. Like, it makes me laugh when I'm talking to some people about their goals and they're like, I just don't like exercising. You're not supposed to always like it. People are always chasing things on how they feel. Don't do that. Don't do things on how you feel, because otherwise you're probably, going to be in a pub chasing women, you're going to be a fat slob, whatever. You've got to do what has to be done. And that means making a sacrifice and getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Doing shit that you don't want to do, because that always has a transcendence effect in your life. Like I bet, running the gyms that you've built and your businesses that you've built over the years, there's been times where you're like, shit, I just don't want to do this anymore. But because you've trained, you've done the reps, you've done the sets, you've hit failure, you know what uncomfortability feels like.
It's built that discipline over the years, having to come up, open up 6 o'clock in the morning when it's cold and sitting around when there's no customers there, but you have to go through it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
And when you're uncomfortable in certain situations, like being on that bloody pendulum squat,
well,
that's probably
everything else easy.
Yeah, it makes everything else feel more manageable. You can accomplish it. It's funny, we were listening to a Joe Rogan podcast yesterday where he was saying more people need to do physical demanding stuff, especially students, especially youngsters, in school, because when they face life, it's gonna be easier for them to face adversity. Maybe they hated PE or running or athletics, but it conditions them, not just from a physical aspect, but from a mental aspect. And they should do that. Instead, a lot of the time today, they're saying, well, you don't have to do it. Here's a participating medal. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell are you doing? You've got to create some sort of competition within yourself. It isn't always against the other people, but it allows you to create that competition to bring out the best in yourself and make it harder to kill. There's a reason why we do bodybuilding. There's a reason why I've done like Ironman or ultramarathon and stuff like that. Because I'm like, I'll probably suck at that. Let's do it. Let's go. Because then I'll be able to accomplish other things that I'm probably suck at. Like, I'm uneducated. I didn't pass anything in school. Hated school. Didn't want to be there. I'm not saying it's bad, but I hated it. But having my pivotal foot in the gym has been allowed me to accomplish so much more, because again, I wake up alert. I got the blood flow into my brain after I've done my cardio, so I want to accomplish more. And it's funny, like a lot of people say, I wake up and I don't have the energy to exercise. It's like, yeah, because you haven't exercised. You need to exercise to get the energy. Again, it's making that small sacrifice, and it starts off with the evening before. There's a reason why I go to bed at 7:30 in the evening. Our ancestors weren't up until 11, 12 o'clock at night. But because we have artificial lights, we have the screen, we have the TV, we have the computer, that penetrates our retina, increases our cortisol levels, keeps us awake.
Decreases our melatonin as well.
Decreases our melatonin, yeah. Like how much melatonin you on? Yeah, we won't even talk about that.
Never talk melatonin.
But like the melatonin then is getting subdued. You're not able to release melatonin because you're up so late. So then pop some pills, take some more melatonin, whatever. It's a vicious cycle. How about thinking about your ancestral wisdom? What time did they go to bed? Well, it was usually after sunset, dependent on the time of the year, or after the campfire went out, and they went to bed. But instead, our cortisol levels are risen today. So we wake up later, we're too tired to accomplish our vision board, or to work out, or journal, or read, or whatever we do in the morning, or meditate, because we're emotionally charged. We're tired. If we're emotionally charged, chances are we're going to eat shit. We're not going to make good choices in life. And it's the same when it comes to exercise. You're going to come up with an excuse or justification on how to be easy to kill that day, you know? And then if you're easy to kill one day, you're easy to be killed the second day, and the third, and the fourth. And guess what? You're not going to fucking like it. You're not going to like it. There's going to be days where you're going to wake up, you're going to feel like shit, you're going to feel tired. I've had an argument with the missus, you're like, fuck it, I'll just eat shit and I'm not going to go to the gym or do cardio or whatever. That's life, man. It's life. We all think that we have a unique story. We're not really that unique. There's a lot of people out there would love to be in every single one of our positions. And the thing is, we never feel that we have enough. You know, it doesn't matter where we get to, we never feel that we have enough. And there was a good quote, I can't remember what it was, on Joe Rogan yesterday, where they said, if you were to swap your position, let's say the position that you're in now, and you didn't have that position, let's say it's 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, you would do anything to be in the position that you are right now. But as soon as you get there, you're like, oh, that's not enough. See someone online with a nice car, it's like, bollocks, my life sucks. You know? You should always be in the now and be present. And the chances are you're not. You're always thinking forward, regretting the past, you're never present. And we're saying 4 years ago, it's like, geez, that's gone quick. Because we're not present. You know, we wake up, like I said, with the device. We're never present when we're eating a meal. We can't even remember half the time that we wolfed down a meal. We're like, geez, that went quick. What was I doing? Oh, I was scrolling.
Taking photos of the food.
Yeah, taking pictures of the food. Filming while I'm eating it, you know? So you're never present. So you never really feel full then. So if you're not feeling full, you're like, after you've eaten, you're like, well, what else can I eat? Snack on some protein bars, snack on a Mars bar, or whatever, you know? So it's never enough. So, and I'm a culprit of it. I'm a victim of it. Sometimes I'm not present. Sometimes I'm just not thinking and appreciating the food that I'm eating and how it got to my plate. I'm just thinking about wolfing it down and then moving on to the next thing. And that's what we do in life, constantly. How many meals a day do you eat, Simon?
At the moment, I'll probably eat 3 meals a day.
3 meals a day?
Yeah, I've dropped it right down.
Halved it?
Yeah.
So do you feel now going from 6 meals a day to 3 meals a day, are you more present eating those meals or just distracted?
Before, when I was eating 6 meals, it was like a chore. But now, every meal, I do try. I do rush my meals. I eat very quick, but I've tried to slow right down and also be present, not to use my phone, not to have a TV there. So when I'm at home, I'll sit at my kitchen and I'll just eat with no distraction, just so I can enjoy the meal, take time digesting, chewing the food. When you're sort of with friends and watching TV, you're just wolfing it down without thinking about it. But yeah, I'll try and 3 meals is enough for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're getting old now. We're the same age, right? So, and
to be, I don't need to eat 6 meals a day. I'm not trying to be 17, 16 stone. I'm happy being small.
Yeah, tiny, mate. Absolutely tiny. But I'm with you. I don't eat as much now. I haven't really been training for the past couple of months. If some of you don't know, I had stem cells a couple of months ago. But even so, when I'm back into full training, I don't eat as much as I used to, because I feel what is very important is that you are in that rest and digest state. You know, you're in that parasympathetic state. If, for instance, you start off on the wrong foot on the day, you know, you've answered an email 5 minutes after you've woken up or seen a comment on your socials that pisses you off, now you're not in that rest to digest. You're in a more of a sympathetic state, that fight or flight. as opposed to your parasympathetic state, so you're not digesting the food as efficiently. So I have noticed myself, if I'm able to retain some form of calmness and invite positivity into my universe for that day, and I'm eating foods that are organic, they're wild caught, humane raised, they're more nutrient dense, I don't have to eat as much. However, I can put on the same amount of size as when I was eating a lot more, because it just wasn't as calorie dense, and now I'm digesting the foods a little easier as well. So that's something that I have kind of quantified in my head, and it's something that I encourage all of you to do as well. Because if you are eating, I know it's a lot more expensive to go organic, wild caught and humane raised. However, if you want to be harder to kill, that's what you need to do, because that food is more nutrient dense, and the antibiotics that you have in that factory farmed fish or that factory farmed steak or whatever is creating gut dysbiosis in your gut. Your immune system is mostly in your gut. The hormones in your body are mostly produced in your gut. So if you've got if you're off balance, you don't have as much opportunist flora or digestive enzymes or HCl in your gut, how are you going to break down all the food that you're trying to consume to pack on size, to give you brain function and cognitive function? Well, you're just not. And it's funny, we always we're measuring our calories, the amount of protein that we get in. And that's why you'll always hear a lot of bodybuilders say, well, it doesn't really matter how much you eat, it's what you absorb. Yeah. So, maybe you're taking digestive enzymes, but, I always encourage people to make sure that they have a good, healthy gut. There's various tests that you can do, like from Viome, to see where your gut is at the moment. If you've got parasites, you may not even know about it. That's causing you inflammation, and you're just not, you may take a protein shake or eating certain food and go, oh my God, so bloated, I'm not eating that food again. Well, maybe it's not the food. Maybe you have some sort of enzyme that just isn't reacting well to the enzymes in that food.
Do you take probiotics too?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So there's two types of probiotics.
Anti-stomach or with food?
No, I'll usually have it with food. Yeah. So I usually kefir every day. I'll have sauerkraut every day. The kefir, I usually try to go for goat's kefir if possible. Sauerkraut, kimchi. I take the Bioptimizers probiotic, and I also do the probiotic that Caged has. However, the Caged probiotic isn't so much for gut health. Yes, it does help with gut health, but it's more for ATP production. So it's much like creatine, just works in a different pathway. It helps assist with adenosine triphosphate production. So I do whatever I can. I if anybody follows me on my stories, you'll see that I do coffee enemas once a week generally. I'll make sure that I take apple cider vinegar a couple of times a day. Everything that I can to keep cleansing, because with the amount of protein that most athletes utilize, it festers, it ferments in the gut. So you're always having to try to clean out your intestines, because that's where you're synthesizing a lot of the nutrients you're absorbing. You're not going to absorb them otherwise, Do you take anything like that, probiotic?
I take probiotics first thing in the morning, and I take obviously the sauerkraut, kimchi, and probiotic yogurts as well.
Yeah.
Sugar-free ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any gut issues, to be honest.
Yeah.
That I know of anyway.
That you know of, yeah. I used to
might say something different.
Yeah, like Gaz.
Yeah.
Gaz has got an issue. But I used to think that I actually had, I used to have gut issues, and I honestly thought that I had some sort of genetic or hereditary issue where I was going to have a belly like my dad. My dad's not a fat, overweight person, but he's got this belly. My granddad had the same belly. And I was like, oh, and my uncle, his brother, same thing. I'm like, what the hell? Maybe that's happening to me. But then as soon as I started going more organic, grass-fed, well, of course, making sure that I wasn't having a lot of artificial colors and flavors, then I found that my gut, my bloat kind of went away, stomach went flatter, and I noticed that the inflammation in my body reduced as well, like in my joints. I thought the joint inflammation was just from training. Everyone gets it, it's fine. But then when I changed my diet completely and looked at the sources of what it came from, or what that food ate, what that cow ate or whatever, then I noticed that the inflammation in my body reduced itself as well. So it's something always to look into, look at the quality, as we know, not just the quantity that we're taking in. One thing that I encourage everybody to do as well, as we said, in regards to being harder to kill, is challenge yourself. Do something that challenges you on a daily basis. Maybe if you're not a reader, then you read. Start off with one page, work your way up to a chapter every day, or whatever it is. Maybe it's a physical thing, like I've done Ironman, obviously. I thought, man, I'm probably gonna suck at that, but it's a challenge. And again, it gives your body purpose, and it gives your brain purpose. Because I feel if we become too comfortable, then we age very quickly. You always see those people that they work until they're 65, and that's all they've done is worked towards retirement. And when they retire, go, great, I can go and lie on a beach now. They freaking die 2 years later. Because the universe is saying, well, you're not reproducing, you don't have a purpose now, you're not getting up for anything, we'll just discard you, we'll get rid of you. So I think it's very important that you challenge yourself and give your body, your universe, your spirit a purpose in life, So, like I've just recently tried learning a language. I really suck.
What language?
Spanish.
Okay.
Spanish. I suck at that. So I'm like, okay, this is something that's going to challenge me. I'm going to learn something new. And that's what I do. Like Sunshine, she speaks several languages. She's learning Italian and Spanish, and even though she's Romanian, she's learning on perfecting these languages, And even though she may not want to go and live in these places, it's another challenge. I was asking her, and her mother does as well. I'm like, why do you want to learn these languages? Oh, just learn them. My brain doesn't function like that. I'm like, well, it has to have a purpose. If I'm going to move to Spain or to Mexico, I got to learn Spanish or whatever. There has to be something behind it. But everybody's different. So whatever your Everest is, whatever that itch is, you climb it, you scratch it. Whatever works for you. Don't do something that you absolutely hate every single day where you're going to dread it, where you're like, okay, I'm just never going to do this. If it is, like I said, waking up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, I can't be asked. Well, maybe you just need to see what the root cause is first. Is it because you're not sleeping enough? Is the quality of your sleep bad? The one thing that I always do with my clients, if I look at their sleep quality or their heart rate variability, I'm like, is your phone in your bedroom? First of all, okay, let's get rid of that. Go and get yourself an old school clock. The one that we have is an old Sony that costs like $11 off Amazon. Just have that. Don't have that Wi-Fi or that EMF penetrating your head. Is your TV in there? Don't have satellite signals penetrating you. So your brain is supposed to detox at night. It detoxes completely when you're sleeping. But if you're penetrating it, it's not going to be able to detox. I'm not saying Alzheimer's is the root cause of this at all, but if we're looking at the diagnosis of Alzheimer's now, when I was a child, a couple of doctors were telling me they were diagnosing people in their 70s, late 70s, but now they're diagnosing people in their 40s. Again, our DNA hasn't changed, our environment has. So you need to be a little bit more disciplined, relentless, and motivated to prioritize your health. Because when you lose it, you can't always go back and go, okay, I should go and fix this now. If you've spent years just pummeling it. There's only so much the body and brain can take. Like with you now, obviously, you came close to death, mate. Have you now, since that situation, maybe you want to share something here, has your life changed at all? Have you prioritized anything differently, or do you have more appreciation for the now and be present?
Yeah, more appreciation to life now. Obviously, before, like I used to get stressed over little things. But now I think, fuck it, what's the worst gonna happen? I get a bill. What's the worst? I'm not gonna die from this bill. So I sort of care less about little things. I try and stress less, and obviously I'm trying to optimize my health by probably eating less like I normally used to do. I was probably eating 6 meals a day, too much protein, probably overtraining as well, obviously taking anabolics, which wasn't great for my health at the time. Just trying to it just sort of makes you stop and think what things I was doing previously to that to make me get to that situation in the first place. I do fasting a couple of times a week. I think that's massively helped my sort of...
Do you do that on non-training days?
Yes, I do on a Sunday and a Wednesday, 2 days a week. I try and do like a 24-hour fast.
Oh, nice.
24 hours. I am trying to work up to like a 72-hour fast, which I'm going to try and work my way up to. But yeah, I really enjoy it. it looks like a little challenge for me, because you know about being comfortable, so that's something my little challenge before I try and do fast in 24 hours, then I'm up to 36.
And is that a complete fast? So you're just having water?
Just water and green tea.
That's it, yeah.
No amino acids, no carbs, no fruit, nothing, just totally no calories.
That's hardcore, man.
It is hardcore.
And do you find that, does it have any negative effect on your training at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, if I train the next day, I'll make sure I'll eat about an hour before I train. And I find I utilise the nutrients a lot faster. The body's like a sponge, it just absorbs the carbs and proteins, so it doesn't really hinder my progress in training, no.
Interesting. Do you know if you stay leaner because of that?
Definitely.
Definitely.
I mean, I was doing cardio as well. Before I never used to be an advocate doing cardio off season, but now I do religiously every day. Do like 45 minutes to an hour every day.
And you'll do that on your fasting days too?
Every day, yeah, every day. Apart from today, because someone made me do legs early. But yeah, I'll try and do it 9 times out of 10. I'll do it every week, cardio, but fasting I'll do twice a week. So 24 hours. So it'll begin on a Saturday night, so 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I went until the next day at the same time.
That's hardcore, man.
Yeah. Don't you fast?
Oh yeah, I fast, but I don't do 24 hours. I've done it 24 hours. I did a...
So when you do it, you want to keep pushing, do it more and more. It's like a little sort of thing, you've got a little challenge.
Yeah. I did, it was like a 5-day fast, but it's the Volta Longo fast. But
They say after 3 days, there's no more benefit.
Man, I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. Jag and I did it together, and we both said at the end, never again. What about you, Dean? Do you, when you do the fast, do you do 24 hours as well, or you do?
You fast 8 hours at night.
8 hours.
3.
I go through little stages because still I'm not a competitive athlete, but I like to try and stay in shape, hold muscle and hold strength. So I do like pyramids where I take a little bit of gear, so that 400 to 600 milligram a test. I do 12 weeks of that. In that time I'll be eating 6 meals a day, a lot lower carbs than what I used to. But and my diet's very dense in plants these days. I try and hit at least 50 different kinds of plants a week, more for the microbiome than anything.
Yeah.
And then I have a big clear out where I'll do at least 12 weeks off. So like a good 3 months off all steroids, off everything, cold turkey, get my bloods tested, make sure everything's coming back, and everything's back in normal ranges within 6 to 8 weeks normally. In that period of time, I drop my food right down to say 2 meals a day, maximum 3, and I'm doing between 12 and 16 hour fasts every day. Just clear out the whole system. In that period of time, obviously my protein's reduced very low to what it normally is, doing 6 meals a day. So
half of that.
Yeah, at least half of that. And the carbs again are very low, and just I bump my good fats right up. I have a lot of salmon, avocado, mixed nuts, egg yolks, some fatty steaks, things like that.
And does your training change during that phase as well?
Obviously, I lose weight because the fasting over that period of time. I've been on gear and eating 6 meals a day, so I go up to around about 103 kilo, 104, and get leaner. When I come off, I probably go down to say about 95, 96. I'm still saying stay lean. I just go softer and smaller.
Yeah, flatter.
Training wise, I'm still as strong, but I can't do as many reps. So say I don't know.
The recovery ability has come down a little.
Yeah. Just I ain't got that muscle stamina. I guess the glycogen's lower in the muscle and all that. So where I go heavy and bang out crazy reps, I'm just hitting failure in half the amount of reps.
Right, got
I
it.
feel so much healthier and good in myself when I do that. And more for show. Sometimes when I'm doing that period, we go out every morning in the woods, do short hill sprints and then fast walks, cardio for about an hour.
Oh, that's a go. Sweet. Yeah, because you spent so many years as a competitive athlete, you probably, have you noticed any other effects as well, like reduction in inflammation in your joints and more mental clarity?
Massively, and I think a lot of that's due to bumping good fats up, reducing carbs massively. I don't eat any sugars, my simple carbs are at an absolute minimum. The carbs I do eat, especially when I'm trying to look good, is more oats, maybe a bit of Weetabix, brown rice, with a sweet potato, but more from vegetables.
Yeah.
It's very low. People say,
Do you still eat fruit?
I love fruit.
Yeah.
I love fruit. Depends on the phase, but yeah, I have a massive bowl, every fruit you can think of, chuck it all in. And if I need a snack and I'm hungry, I'll have a big bowl of fruit, bit of yogurt, seeds on top. I do love my fruit, but it's normally at least 70-80% vegetable to 30-20% fruit.
Yeah.
And we do the smoothies every morning. I call it a super smoothie. I pack in at least 7-8 vegetables, 2-3 fruits, and then loads of turmeric, ginger, anything I can get my hands on. Lots of different seeds, nuts, and I pack this smoothie up. And we have like half a point to a point of that every morning. Just more than anything to get the amount of plants into my diet. Sometimes, especially if you're eating more meals, I can't eat a big pile of rice and meat and then a pile of vegetables.
Yeah.
So getting that smoothie in the morning is really packing the amount of plants into your diet. And if you struggle drinking that without, because the amount of fibre in that is because your body's not used to it. You just got to build up your microbiome and do small amounts, and over time,
and then scale it,
increase it, and your body gets used to it that way.
Yeah, it's like when if I look at some people's blood work, and sometimes like their magnesium's really low, get them to slowly scale because they have the same sort of effect otherwise. But that's cool. Next time we're going to go and stay at your place, I think. Breakfast sounds beautiful.
Anytime you're welcome.
Yeah, but do a lot of you fast at all or not? No, not at all. This is something that I never really. You do? Yeah. There's something that I never believed in.
I think because with bodybuilding, I think people are scared to not eat after they have to eat every 3 hours.
Yeah, I was that guy.
Yeah, same here. You're conditioned to eat 5-6 meals a day, and if you didn't, you'd start losing muscle. But I didn't find I lost any muscle, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not really, no.
I used to be one of those guys that wake up in the night and have a shake as well. You do that?
Yeah. But now I'm just very relaxed. I can get away with eating 2 meals a day. I don't really lose any muscle from it. So I think bodybuilders tend to overeat anyway.
A lot of bodybuilders could probably do so much more if they didn't stress about the little things.
Yes.
Because we're stressed, oh man, I'm 5 minutes over my bloody mealtime. Shit, I need to wake up and have a shake. It's just what we have always done, and we stress about it. And I'm sure, like, if you look at some of the best bodybuilders, like Dorian is pretty relaxed. You look at Dexter Jackson, all these guys are really just chilled out. They're so chilled out they could fall over. And I think we could learn a lot by that. It isn't so much, okay, we need to be so regimented. We can be harder to kill by being balanced. We have to have that balancing act of being in that parasympathetic state. Listening to the body to a certain degree, eat when it feels like it. Of course, if you're training hard, you have to fuel that. But, you can have, much like you have an off season, you have the on season, you can have a day when you're fasting for so many hours, and you can have a day when you're eating as you should be, structured or whatever. You just have that time. Like I'll fast, I don't fast religiously, but I'll fast sometimes like on my non-training days just to give the digestive system a bit of a break, because what's very important to me right now is not so much, getting a plastic trophy or getting on stage in my underpants, it's more so the longevity, you know what I mean? It's, increasing my health span, not getting to the age of my life where I'm gonna have regret because, man, I just pushed it too hard. And now I need a hip replacement or whatever it may be, sometimes that happens anyway, but I want to do whatever I can to continue to have these workouts when I travel and feel good about that, And I think it's very important for all of us to think that to a certain degree. Being harder to kill isn't just about that particular day. It is for your future, being present. And of course, if you're trying to build a business, you're being present within that, you're having a purpose, but you're having the balance. So it isn't just all work, it isn't all just working out, it isn't all like Netflix. It's like you just have that balance in your life. So, what I always try to make notes whenever I can. I've got this device here. And I feel that it's very important for you to have some form of accountability, especially if you have a family or if you have immediate vicinity, you're in work and you don't have a support group. You don't have that accountability. Now in these days, you can find that support group online a lot of the time, which is great. You've got the help and the hindrance of social platforms these days, but having yourself accountable, You know, the one thing that I noticed, and there's a reason why people, again, referring to Dorian, had a journal every single day, their reps, their sets, how they felt that day, you know, what they wore to the bloody gym, whatever. And I think it's very important that you do something along the lines for yourself so you have that accountability. If you're wanting to be specific on your diet, you've got a goal that you need to attain, and you missed certain, you know, food group out, you didn't do your cardio or whatever, you get out that a luminous yellow, green, or whatever highlighter, and you put it there so you see it in front of you. Because pretty much all my clients says to me at the end of the day, yeah, I ate pretty good today. And then I highlight there. I'm like, oh, shit. Because they didn't have that accountability staring back at them. So you need to put that sincerity on the line with everything that you do. So I've got some clients now on this Be Harder to Kill protocol, this program, and I speak to them every single week. Every single one of them now has improved drastically by, number one, making sure that they're writing every single thing down. Because if you don't have that immediate vicinity group, then you need to create it with yourself. Because we're always going to wake up with that voice in our head saying, you shouldn't do that today. You should take it back. I know you set that intention in January, but it's February now, you can back off. You know what I mean? So you have to, you know, does anybody here feel that they have a problem with that? Where they kind of regret, they regress, they start off with a best intention, and then that best intention's out the window within about 4 weeks. Like, I speak to a psychologist every week, every single week. And I think it's very good. Sometimes, let's say if you've got a lot of things that's on your mind, and when you communicate it with someone else, you can do it with yourself, but when you communicate with someone else, that there's no strings attached, there's no guilt involved, then I feel that it holds you accountable. You're acknowledging it. It's on your mind so much more. You're being present about it. Every time that you go to react to something or you do something, you're like, oh, hold on. I just had this conversation last week. I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Because I know that they're going to ask the questions this week based on what we did last week. You know, it's the same thing that I do with my coaching, probably the same as what you do with your coaching. You're going to check in. You're like, okay, you know, did you do this, this, and this? You didn't, why? So you can do that in every aspect of your life. You know, maybe cravings is your issue. Whatever it is, then you can be alerted to that by communicating that. Yeah? And like, for instance, like on this this course that I've got at the moment, even though it's like a entrepreneurship course, every single one of them has to work out. Even if they haven't come from a, you know, training background, they have to do some form of activity. Because, as I mentioned before, that conditioning your body, your armor, helps you condition your brain. And a lot of the time, the body gives out because the brain gives out, but if you get the body a lot more conditioned, you create that armor, this is going to be more relentless too, because now they're interconnected as opposed to separate. You know, a lot of people talk about themselves like third person. It's like, if only I had the willpower, if I only had the motivation, because they're disconnected. You have that connection. You've just got to recreate. Do we have any questions here at the moment, guys?
I've got one.
Yeah.
Just about the stem cell biohacking. How have you found it?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
You know, like I haven't really put my body to the test fully yet. I only just started training literally last week a little bit. And I haven't trained for like 10 weeks now. You know, and I feel.
Do you want to tell the reason why you didn't train?
Oh yeah. So I had the stem cells. I tore my tricep 68% off the bone when I was snowboarding last year, and when I wiped out as well, it wasn't until later I found this out. I tore my infraspinatus in my shoulder, in the opposite, you know, tricep this side, shoulder this side, and then I tore my meniscus. Had no idea I tore my meniscus until I had the MRI just before the stem cells. So like, okay, I'll shoot all of this up then. I didn't need to have surgery on the shoulder. I had reattached on the shoulder about a year and a half ago. Didn't need so much here because I thought, well, let me see what the stem cells do first. Touch wood, shoulder feels absolutely phenomenal at the moment. Meniscus, knee feels good. So I had various places injected. Tricep is taking a little bit longer, which I expected. It takes about 6 months for the full efficacy of the stem cells to kick in, I've noticed. But I think, you know, in about 3 months' time, I should know the full effect. But does it feel better? Sure. I've just kind of screwed it up a couple of times when I shouldn't have. Like, for instance, like, let's say if that drops off, I go to grab it and go,
instinct in it.
bollocks. You know, when I'm really trying to protect it, it's like when we went to Wales and stayed at a cottage there. A lamb had got out, and the mother was in the field, and Sybil's like, "Oh, get the lamb." I'm like, "It'll find its way in." So anyway, I ended up getting out the car, went and grabbed the bloody lamb, and it was probably about 2.5 months old. It was a biggish lamb, you know. And then when I grabbed it, I was like, bollocks, because it was like struggling. So it's just little things like that I just put in me back a little bit, even though I'm being really, really good in the gym. But so far, so good. It's definitely going in the right direction. You just got to make sure that you don't train for a good while after, because if you create a new trauma to a new area, you know, such as if I was to do legs a couple of weeks after, then the stem cells are going to go to the trauma. Okay, so I can't have it dissipate away from the areas that I'm trying to work on, you know? Is it something that you're considering having done?
Yeah, I've just been looking at it. I mean, like you, we're all getting older, and you start to look at interventions rather than anything else to kind of improve your lifestyle and the quality of your life. So, I mean, there's loads of different levels, as you know, with biohacking, you know, from blood transfusions to, you know, stem cells. So I was just curious because it's something I was interested in.
Yeah, I think stem cells are something that I'll always do, you know, for anti-aging purposes. Obviously, as we get older, the less stem cells that we have to rejuvenate ourselves, and the more trauma that we have, it's like stem cells are a bank, and the more trauma that you have, the more you're withdrawing. So let's say, like, I had a lot of injuries racing motocross, I'm withdrawing. I'm training a lot, I'm withdrawing. I've had a lot of injuries, so I'm withdrawing those stem cells. So I'm like, I want to have stem cells for my health, my longevity in the future as well. So it's something that I'll always probably do. And I'll always probably go to another country, such as Mexico, because you get a lot more and it's a lot cheaper.
So is it artificial, is it, the stem cells?
No, they're umbilical cord.
Okay.
Umbilical cord. So, and you can get umbilical in the US as well, but you're not allowed to cultivate them. You can get them here. You're just not allowed to cultivate them. So you can turn those, 100 million stem cells into several 100 million stem cells. You're not allowed to do that in other countries. And they charge an arm and a leg in those other countries. And it's funny, you go to a place like Mexico and they're just so advanced when it comes to the medical system and all the biohacks that they have there, like the H-spot that they had, the hyperbaric oxygen chamber is probably worth $1 million. Like I'd never seen anything like it in my life.
It's like a rocket ship.
Yeah, it was. Like you could get eight people in there, you could watch a TV in there, you know, it was great, it's phenomenal.
It's all changing now, isn't it? You know, between just exercise and kind of what people see as vegetables and healthy eating, it's just spiraled now.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You know, we just got to make sure that we don't get distracted by the shiny objects.
Yeah.
You know, the way that we live our life on a daily basis is very, very important, you know, so we're not reactive. That's very important. And then we can go for the shiny objects. You know, it's the icing on the cake. We've got to make sure that we have that cake first.
Do you still do your cold therapy?
Yeah. Like Sybil, we were talking yesterday. It's like, what's the thing that we miss most about home? Because we've been away for about 5 weeks, and I got to go to LA next week. You've got to go to Luxembourg. So it's like, it's a long way home. And I was like, the thing I miss the most is the ice bath. Not so much actually doing the ice bath. It's the effects that I get from it. Yeah. Do you do it?
No, I've been meaning to get it done, yeah. I don't like the cold.
Who does? Yeah. But you got to chase the discomfort.
I've done the cryo chamber.
Yeah.
It's not the same as it.
It's not. That's quite manageable. Yeah. Any more questions?
What are the benefits of the ice bath?
The ice. Where does that question come from? Oh, here, ice bath. So there's a few benefits. So the main benefit why I do it is that it tones the vagal nerve. So the vagal nerve is what puts you in that fight or flight, that sympathetic to the parasympathetic state. So it provides so much more emotional stability. You know, so that's the main reason why I do it, but it helps mobilize fatty acids. It can help with inflammation. It can help with insulin sensitivity as well. So for instance, like sometimes I'll wear a blood glucose monitor. If I look at the foods that I eat throughout the day, I know where my spikes are going to be, how long they're going to be up for. If I do an ice bath in the morning, it's not as dramatic. So, you know, that's another reason. But, you know, if you're going to do it for inflammatory purposes, you shouldn't do it straight after your workout. A lot of people do it straight after their workout. You want the hormetic response. You want that inflammatory response post-workout. That's what gets our body to adjust and grow. So you don't want to blunt that. So I'll do it several hours after or do it before the workout.
For how many minutes?
Huh?
How many minutes?
I usually do 3 minutes. 3 minutes in the morning. If I do it in the evening, it's just 1 minute because it just takes me too long to warm up and I can't sleep properly. Yeah, but making sure that you've got to get under your chin.
2 questions.
Oh, here we go.
First one, I do cold showers every morning now for a few years. How much more effective do you think the ice bath is compared to cold showers?
Hell of a lot more effective.
Second question, Simon, when are you going to get a cold plunge on the roof?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Simon, you better ask me when I'm building it.
Yeah, it's a build it.
Yeah, so I think it's so much more effective because you're completely submerged. Yeah, and you want to have a lot more water than just ice because a lot of people just fill it up with ice and go get in there. But because the space that you have in between the ice blocks, then you don't really get that cold. You want to have a lot more water, obviously. But you're able to get right down under your chin, and your hands and feet, your extremities, are submerged. So that's difficult. A lot of people find it so much more difficult having their hands in as opposed to just having their hands out. They're like, oh, this is easy. I'm like, put your hands in. Because that's where the circulation is usually not as good. And that's how you improve your circulation. You actually improve your circulation through the ice baths. But I'm not saying that cold showers are bad. Still do the cold showers. They're just not as effective. When you're doing a cold shower, you do want to make sure that you get, your various lymph nodes, your inguinal nodes, your occipital nodes, and you also want to get definitely your head and like your thyroid, for instance. A lot of people go in there, they avoid the head. Get your head under there as well.
Did it take time to build up to 3 minutes, or did you do it straight away?
I think I did it pretty much straight
so
away.
Once you're in the bath, that's it.
Well, the first 30 seconds are the hardest, Yeah, sometimes, when you first do it, you start hyperventilate a little bit, and, your body's just saying, get the hell out of here, or your brain's telling you to get out. But once you get past the 30 seconds, you're pretty much okay. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you got your lobster hat on.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sunshine, for some reason, she can't do the ice bath very well, but if she wears this lobster hat, she does it.
No, I can do it pretty well. I've done like 3 minutes 17, but it's the anxiety prior to getting in the bath that sometimes grips me. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna chill out. I'm gonna put a lobster hat on and it's gonna be all good. And it works.
So there you go. So maybe wear that in the shower, Dean. It'll be good. Yeah, so there was a company at the Health Optimization Summit, I can't remember the name of it, that had the ice baths.
Monk.
M-O-N-K?
Yeah.
Okay, look that up. They got ice baths
I
here
went
in
to a
the UK.
gym last week in Liverpool, and Gethin, he's got a nice therapy club in his gym.
Oh, nice.
And he charges, I think, £10 for a session.
Oh, there you go.
It's only like a small. It's not very big. It's probably.
Yeah, you don't think big. Yeah, just something to submerge your neck in. It's great. You're going to be bankrupt next time I see you. I'm like, get a sauna as well.
So we had one. It's my office now.
Oh, is it?
Oh.
Actually.
Okay, well, sauna and ice, hot and cold thermogenesis is great. You get the ice bath, obviously the effects that I just told you about, but with the sauna, I think it's great to warm you up, especially when you're living in a city, you're getting exposed to pollutants, so it helps collate a lot of the heavy metals out of your body, and it helps with the heat shock protein, so it helps repair a lot of your damaged DNA, and it helps with collagen production, helps with testosterone optimization. If getting infrared sauna, it's great. Yeah, so just a little nudge here. So you're gonna have to start building.
On the bill.
Any more questions here?
Sorry, I've got one more.
Yeah, sure.
Genetic testing, who do you rate out? There's so many on the market when you're looking at, doing that kind of thing around food intolerances. Is there anyone that you...
food. Yeah, like Viome do a good one.
Okay.
I like Viome. There's a lot, but Viome is a good one. And then the other test that I've literally just done this week, I've done a Dutch test. That was Great Plains, I think. And did an organic acids test. Prolactin test, I can't remember where I had that done, but that was all here in the UK. All right, well, before we go, again, I just want to thank now the Caged Ambassadors here. Are we all here? Yeah. The Caged Ambassadors for coming up and helping here. Really appreciate you. So we actually have some cage samples downstairs if we pop downstairs now. But thank you ever so much for taking the time out of your day for coming here today. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Me and Kris, when we headed off to Dallas, in August.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have another leg session.
Another leg session.
We'll get Brett sworn.
Oh yeah. Bloody right.
Brett.
We'll kick his ass. So that's going to be our next appearance over there in the US, first week of August. Yeah. Thank you ever so much for listening. My name is Kris Gethin, and I am out.